Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. I'm Clinton Geoffrey. Along with me always is my partner in crime, Adam Ross.
How's it
Adam, how you
going?
doing, buddy? Pretty good.
I'm all
It's been
right.
an interesting
Warm
week.
day.
It
Yeah.
has been a warm day. Here in Southern Ontario, it has been a cooker for the last week and probably for the next week at least. So we felt the pinch a little bit out, doing some racing and getting out and being out there in the sunshine a little bit. Flamboro was hot both days we were there. You know, we were going to do the old egg in the frying pan trick on the backstretch, but we thought that might be a little passe. So we let that one go. And pretty hot day, though, man. But we have some cool stuff to talk about. We had a good weekend. First off, Operation Green Flag obviously has been our series of races we've had going on for the last, 4 or 5 weeks now. This weekend will be our fifth weekend with a doubleheader. So excited about that, Adam. Your thoughts on Operation Green Flag and how things have gone pretty well, I think, so far. And we're quite proud of the product G-Force TV and our team's been able to put out. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's been much more rewarding than I thought it would be, Clint. From a personal standpoint, from getting to watch these racers get out there, enjoy what they do, but really appreciate the fact that we're able to figure out a way to deliver racing to fans. It's been super rewarding in that sense. And I got to tell you, the numbers from Saturday, where we featured super stock, street stocks, and pure stocks, it wasn't a real heavy hitting division. Like, there was no real premier division, but the numbers were fantastic. The racing was fantastic. It couldn't have gone better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a bit of a costly event for the teams. You know, they're paying a premium to come in and play. Obviously, at $50 a person, that's quite a bit more than they pay on a normal night, depending on where you race and what your membership deals are. But everybody's been seem to be real happy to just be at the track. For the most part, people are playing by the rules. Everybody seems to be getting along. And the biggest thing that, and I hope I'm not cursing us going to a doubleheader weekend, is mostly it's been clean racing. We thought with the pure stocks, mini stocks, and super stocks, we'd see a lot more cars tore up, but in the end, it came out really good. You know, Tyler Boyong, he got his car wrecked pretty good, a regular at Peterborough. But for the most part, a lot of guys had their stuff together. Spencer, let's show some video from the weekend, either one of your in-house clips or the Motorsport Alley clip that Jerry and the guys over there sent us. So this is, I believe, this is our footage. So there's our speed shots and some of the action. And I thought the mini stocks looked really good out there. Full fields of cars. Adam certainly added to the aspect of how good things looked. And tough break for Kyle Steckley. You know, he was the dominant car there, and about lap 10 just dropped out.
Yeah, started to overheat, and which no big surprise with the temperatures that they were running. But how about a mini stock feature that went green to checker? I believe was a 40-lap feature event. I almost don't remember. Looking now at the pure stocks, and that had some awesome racing as well. Andy Weller actually sent me a note saying he had to pull off because he was overheating. He didn't want to scatter his engine all over the track and make a big mess.
Yeah, the winner of the pure stock was disqualified, and Chris Kahn ended up with the win, and Glenn Hill's doing his job in the Room of Doom. But I was super happy with the way the track came off, looked good, and a full field of super stocks, which we talked about in the past, hasn't been a class with tons of great numbers at Flamboro in recent years. So to see them come out, Kenny Grube ran a great race. Him and Rick Verburn had a great battle going on throughout the entire 50-lap race. I thought the racing was really good in the super stocks as well.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I think they raced amazingly. Like you saw there was a little bump, and Ethan Constable was in position all day long, just couldn't quite get close enough. That was really the big one of the day.
Yeah.
Tyler Bullion had the worst damage out of that deal, but this was the worst crash. It was a one-car accident, but I thought we were going to see the Bill Berkelman's wreck going into the corner. And Clinton, it made me feel so bad. Just look up at the top of the screen. He just clobbers the wall. Never got a chance to talk to him. I would assume that he either broke a brake line and that caught fire, or he blew a motor going down into the corner, because that car just did not slow down. and we'd
Start it again,
commended him.
Spencer, and stop it if we can, just so we can show it a few times. Because if you're not familiar, it starts. So he's pretty much top dead center of your picture right now. He's the car that's smoking. It's the orange and white machine. Basically at your 1 o'clock position on your screen right now. Play it, Spence, and you just watch. His car just doesn't turn, and it goes straight into that fence. And wow!
And a big fireball shoots out from behind it, and he could have been done by then, Clinton. He was involved in a wreck earlier, and I had given him props. I said, there's no points on the line. He's not going to make much more money, but good for them for ripping away some bodywork and coming out to finish putting on a show. It shows that he really wants to be a part of it. And sure enough, on the last lap, that happens, and that had to hurt.
Yeah, we did wreck a couple cars, but for the most part, when you bring in that many of cars, everybody pretty much got out clean, and that's great, and got the shakedown. So we were super impressed by the pure stocks and the mini stocks in the show they put on. Spencer, just to wrap up Flamboro, Jerry Abramowitz over at Motorsport Alley sent us a video and some drone shots. He was helping us out with the broadcast there. Just throw that video that Jerry made, Spencer, and we'll watch that quickly. I'm not sure if it had sound or not, but you get the picture. Some great images from Jerry and the guys over at Motorsport Alley.
Yeah, he did a pretty neat job there for sure. Some really cool vantage points. Those guys have to be going crazy too, Clinton. Photographers that are used to shooting, 5,000 pictures on a given weekend, and now they're really limited.
Yeah, for sure. Now, some great images. I thought things went really well at Flamboro. So thanks everybody at the Flamboro staff and everybody over there who helped us get that together. I love that shot.
I'm a little ticked off right now at our producer because he didn't make the change to the ticker that I changed. Unless do we have more Rico Abreu this week, Clinton, or was that last week?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Is it? Okay, I haven't refreshed my screen. Hang on, I'm going to refresh my screen and then still not apologize if it's been changed.
Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but anything else you want to say to wrap up Flamboro, Adam, last weekend?
No, nothing more to wrap up.
All right.
Did you just remove it, Spencer? Like all out remove it? I'm going on strike for the next 10 minutes. I'm going on strike.
Well, that only punishes me, not Spencer. So, next up, Mission Merrittville, round 2 back at Merrittville. Things went a lot smoother at Flamboro the second time out, so we're hoping for the same type of thing at Merrittville on this Saturday. Big card on the horizon. You got 360 sprint cars and 358 modifieds, and along with the Thunderstocks, it's going to be a wild fair. Your thoughts on that, Adam? It's going to be a star-studded show, and I got note today from Doug Leonard that 27 360s signed up, and I didn't think there were 27 360s in Ontario ready to go. Apparently, a couple guys have picked up rides, and we'll be cruising in from Quebec. I'm hearing Jordan Poirier and a couple others must be rolling in too. So, good for Don. I mean, great deal to get it. Hopefully, the weather holds out. Unfortunately, 2 weeks ago when we were there last, weather was a concern and proved not to be. So, if we're hoping for the same thing this weekend as well. But excited to be that. We'll go live on G-Force at 7 p.m. this Saturday night, and excited to bring some more action from the dirt tracks. I know Merrittville's a place I grew up with, and kind of like you at Flamboro, it's a place that's near to my heart. So excited to get back there, show off a lot of our 360 drivers. They're the one guys and who haven't had any action so far. So to get them all together and get them out racing is going to be exciting this week. We'll try and get you the full list if I can get it here by the end of the show. But we do have some great news coming up. Yeah, the classes have filled up excellent for Saturday. And I know Thunderstocks were sold out last week sometime. I think they capped it at 30 cars. So we're going to have full fields again on Saturday. Excited to go back to Merrittville and make that happen.
Absolutely. And I love the sprint cars at Merrittville. I don't know why, but a 360 show there, it's so unpredictable, I think. You just don't know what's going to happen. Um, it should be a great show. I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, then we move over on Sunday. It's our first doubleheader weekend of this Operation Green Flag. We're going to move over to Humberstone, which will be round 6 or mission 6 if you want. Our second round back at Humberstone. And it's going to feature the late models, the sportsmen, the mini stocks, and the crate sprint. So excited to see how that comes out Sunday, and that'll be 7 p.m. there as well at Humberstone. And Dave sent a video today on Facebook. And Spencer, play the video that Dave sent today where he's talking about how pumped he is about the weekend.
All right, let's see if we can try this again. I'm down on the front stretch. I was just giving up an update to everybody ooh, that was some bad camera work. Giving everybody an update on what's coming up this weekend. There will be a race sheet that comes out tomorrow, so we'll be good to go with that. So everybody will know what the list of events are and how everything's gonna break down. But today, I am proud to announce our sportsman class is full. Our mini stock class is full. Our crate sprint class is full. And our late model was full, and we just had a cancellation. So if there is a late model driver out there that I may have denied or whatever, we still have one spot left for our late models. So we have a full card with full classes in each of the categories, which I am super proud of. So I am so happy to have so many great people supporting us, and I can't wait to put it live on Rev and have G-Force hosting for this entire weekend. I am jacked for this. This is almost like a normal race weekend. If Oswego was running, it would be like normal in Niagara right now. So hopefully they'll get up and running soon. But here, I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see some racetrack. It's fast and wide today. So I was actually counting the lanes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I definitely wouldn't want to be the 7th guy. That would be way too sharp of a corner. That would end in disaster. I think we could go 6 wide. I'm sure the mini stocks will try it this year. So it actually went really well. We tried a new watering program, and it seemed to take care of a lot of the dust and everything that happened on the last time around. So I'm pretty excited to see how this is all going to end up. But yes, gates are going to open at 3:30 on Sunday. Racing is going to start at 6:30. We're going to be live to air by 7, and we will be set to go. So if you guys have any questions, you guys know my emails. Oh, the other thing, make sure that you have your registration dollars in, that you have your pit crew, our pit crew assigned. So if you haven't sent me an email, dbittner@humberstonespeedway.com. If you haven't sent me your crew list or anything like that, please do so. We are assigning pit stalls day or two, and we need to make sure that we have everybody properly social distance based off of the group numbers that we're allowed. So if you can send me all your info so that we're all set up for that, it will make life a lot easier.
So there you see Dave Bittner all prepped up and ready to go, and he's always up on the chip, excited and ready to rock. And Humberstone's looking good, and we're excited to get back with them on Sunday. So if you're around, make sure you check that out. Of course, if you missed any of the action we've shown so far in Operation Green Flag, just go here on gforcetv.net, and they're all there in the rundown. You can pick them up and watch them on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at your leisure. So that's the beauty of our system. If you miss it, you can watch it. Also, tonight at 9 p.m., another debut. Man, I'm confused. Spencer, what's coming up tonight on Rev
Should
TV
be
at 9
Merrittville
p.m.?
tonight.
It should be the Merrittville broadcast. Yeah. So Merrittville will debut tonight. So the broadcast from a couple weeks back will come on air tonight.
And that was a good show.
At 9 p.m.
They've all been good races. But
yeah, it'll re-air at midnight, and then again Thursday at 9 p.m. on Rev TV Canada. So make sure you check that out. That's the recut, and we're excited to have that go on. So big weekend coming up as we get into Mission Green Flags doubleheader at Merrittville and Humberstone. So moving on from that, Adam, that brings us to our next mission that we're proud to announce today. And Spencer will throw up the recently approved flyer. And for our friends east of Toronto, here it comes for you. Your chance to be part of Operation Green Flag. It will be Mission Brighton Speedway, Saturday, July 25th, 7 p.m. live on GeForceTV.net, with the recut coming 10 days later on Rev TV. It'll be late models, Canadian modified Thunder stocks, and then mini stocks and Comp 4s together. So if you're Comp 4 driver, that's just a misprint on our recently created poster here. It will be mini stocks and Comp 4s. Mark has confirmed. But late models, Canadian modified Thunder stocks, and mini stocks with the Comp 4s, Saturday, July 25th at Brighton Speedway. Super excited to be there. Adam, we've had a long relationship with Mark and Ange and the Rinaldi family. It's a place that's near and dear to mine, yours, and Greg's heart. We've been the announcers there in rotation with others for the past 3 years.
Brighton Speedway's, that's the only thing it's close to, is our heart.
I was just about to say, I was going to save you from the wrath of your own mouth again, but no.
Nope.
You got to go open it wide. That big shit-eating grin for Ange to pop you right in the snout.
Of all the times we've talked about Brighton Speedway and how it is off the beaten path, this is the time it doesn't matter. Don't leave your living room. We're going to bring it to you.
I got to stand up for Ange. Yes, Ange says she'll send directions, and she's saying it's great to be a part of this amazing Operation Green Flag, and you're throwing them under the bus. Anyways, quick story. Almost 20 years ago now, Adam and I started to do our first, it was one of the first video production we ever did, if not the first. We went to Brighton Speedway, and we worked on getting our first video up and rolling, right? So in the opener of the video, you say, well, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and Ange has never let you live it down. But I got to defend the Rinaldis a little bit and all our friends from Brighton Speedway, because it's probably the least track in the middle of nowhere out of all the tracks we've been to. It's 5 minutes off the 401. It's hardly in the middle of nowhere, just because we live on the wrong side of Toronto from Brighton. You've been picking on them for a long time for that, I think.
The reason it's funny is because you don't want a racetrack in an urban area. It doesn't work out well. Name me one racetrack that's in the middle of a city. Like, wow, we love our racing. No, they all go away. Brighton is in a perfect spot. Brighton is in a great location.
When I first started going to races in dirt country, let's call it, in central New York, that's the thing that shocked me the most. First couple times you go to Dirt Weekend, you go to a place like Brewerton, and you realize, wow, in Canada, we live in the cities and we drive out to the country to race. Here in the States, they all live in the country and they drive into the city to race at places like Brewerton or Fonda. It's right in the city center. So it's crazy that it all comes together like that. But
well, because so many of them, and Steven's right, Oswego Speedway it is in town. A lot of dirt tracks are at the county fairgrounds, so you're fairly close to, that urban center. But the tracks that are successful, even take Cornwall Speedway, for example, are places that aren't really huge metropolises, but they're the place you want to be on race night. So that's why I don't mind poking fun at Brighton.
I laugh because I thought you were going to say Cornwall's off the beaten path too, and I'm like, whatever drugs you're on, buddy, because you can throw a spitball from the backstretch at Cornwall to the 401 as well. It's even closer, but it's been a good deal. But back to the business, getting Brighton here as part of this package. When we first talked about taking the Stream team on the road, we looked at Applefest as one of the events that you and I had started talking about even before the virus and COVID and everything took over our sport the way it has this season. We've, we talked about going there to do Applefest because it just seemed like the perfect event to give away for free on the stream, because one, they're practically sold out. You couldn't put any more people there, so it's not going to cost them any type of fan revenue or anything like that. Plus, it's a premier event with drivers from all over, which would really show off Brighton. So we're excited to get out there July 25th and make that happen. It's super excited. I can't wait to get back to Brighton. It's a place I love. The racing has always been good. The home track classes always put on a great show, and I think depending on how fast signups take place, you could see a lot of outside flavor make their way in. That's the beauty of the way things have gone lately. They've got guys who meet the crate late model requirements from Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, formerly South Buxton and Humberstone. So we'll see how many of those guys come up. I mean, a lot of those a lot of the Brighton guys are the ones filling the field at Humberstone this weekend.
You're right.
So I think you're
Yep.
going to see a lot of cross-pollination there. I think you're also going to see Thunderstock and mini stock cars try and get in the event as well. So we're going to get quite a flavor of across the board.
Yeah. Can we call it barnstorming? Could we go retro? And that's what it was always
Sure.
called when people travel. Because cross-pollination is what we're trying to do with fans of dirt and asphalt and bring people together. And I can't wait to get down there and ask Angie Rinaldi what Mark did to change her mind, because I'm trying to remember the exact words she used about streaming a race from Brighton Speedway.
It was a month ago, and I think she told us both on the same day, if you talk my husband into doing something without fans, I'll never speak to you either again. And he called Adam today, and just for the record, and then I called him, but not to talk about that. Either way, it's going to be awesome to get those guys part out there. I think, like Mark had been saying all along, we got to get the guys doing something. We don't want them to find another sport or another hobby that they love more than this. So let's get them a race and get them going. To update Mark as well. Go ahead.
As much as we talk up Brighton Speedway, the reality is so many fans that go to Humberstone, like a lot of race fans are just very, very local. So Humberstone people don't go to Merrittville, vice versa. Ashwegan people don't go to Merrittville, Humberstone. I mean, there is some that do, but there's a lot who only go to their one track, Clint. So this is why I'm excited. I think Brighton Speedway could possibly have the biggest audience of any race we've done so far.
Yeah,
because I think
possible.
There's a lot of curiosity, and people, you can't go to this race, so I think people will tune in and check it out.
Brighton's done a great job of making marquee events. If you're a sprint car fan, their Labor Day weekend has always been big. Then they have, of course, the Apple Fest weekend in September after the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals every year, weekend. So, and those events have drawn a lot of people in and created quite a buzz for what goes on at Brighton Speedway. And they've done a great job carrying the momentum through. As I read Angie's message here, it says signups will begin Friday for the July 25th Operation Green Flag. As we know what's gone on, Adam, in the past series. So drivers, if you're planning on racing at Brighton, we're going to get Ange up to speed on what they need. But please have ready your name, your hometown, your registration money, obviously, your number, sponsors, and your transponder number, or if you need to rent one, indicate that as well. And what that does is that helps us get all your numbers and everything entered in, so we don't have 40 drivers with the wrong names when we start to go to air, and work on getting the timing and scoring as well as we can get it tied into our system on the fly. So make sure you've got all that information. Once again, name, hometown, driver number, your payment, your sponsors, and whether you have a transponder number, what it is, or whether you need a rental. So awesome. Great news to come on. Now, Adam, there's something we need to talk about. That the elephant in the room is Flamboro. So they booked a show on the weekend. We spoke to them when it wasn't brought to us to stream it at the time, and then basically we mentioned it to them. They said they were going to try and go it on their own. Last night they mentioned they were going to possibly get some funding, but it didn't come together in time, and Brighton was ready to pull the plug. Anything you want to say to address there? Obviously, we have a great relationship with John, Gary, and Doug over there at Flamboro, but they were going to go out on their own.
I think they'll have a great race, and I think people will be there. It'll be a great show that not many people are going to see. But right now, the void they're filling is giving people the opportunity to race, right? So
Yes.
Us being able to present it to an audience was a nice fit, and I'm so glad we were able to go there for the two shows that we were able to secure funding for. Just in this case, Brighton Speedway, for one, was a place we wanted to go to from the start, and for two, it was a place we could work out an arrangement with track owner Mark Rinaldi and Angie Rinaldi to make it work for all of us.
Yeah, we were able to come up with funding for 6 free events, and let's just talk about that. It's not like we didn't offer it to a lot of series. Even on pavement and dirt, we tried to get everybody out and racing. Some series figured they couldn't make it happen. Some of them ran out of time, and even that was my talk with Mark today. I said, Mark, it's killing me that you can't be part of the free 6, and he said, I know we waited a little too long, but we understand where we were. So. No, great deal. Super glad we could get the engine idling here, at least get the tracks up and running. And then to follow up with Mark. So speaking with Mark today, as a lot of you know, he's been on this program multiple times in the past 6 weeks to talk about what's going on here in Ontario and the situation with the Ontario government. As I hear it now, Mark has a meeting with the tourism minister tomorrow, or the tourism department. So we will find out where racing sits in with that in the next couple of days, most likely. And I want to thank Mark and everybody who has helped behind the scenes to get all the tracks together and at least get us recognized with the government to get us where we are, because I don't think without all the work that went on behind the scenes, we would still be lumped in with concerts and not being allowed to do anything. So the fact that they recognized auto racing and motorcycle competition is a direct result of all the work they've done. So super cool to have them, at least talk to Mark and get some information for us. And we hope to have some more news for you coming up tomorrow. So that takes us through Mission Brighton, Saturday, July 25th. Let's move on to our.
We've got a couple of comments.
Yeah, sure.
Got a couple of comments that we should address. Throw up the YouTube comment, Spencer. We'll start with that. But word that we should head to Jukasa to do an event for GeForce TV. It's definitely something we want to look at. It's something that has been discussed. I mean, you can almost assume that everything has been discussed at this point. There's been a lot of conversations, a lot of quick notes back and forth. Hey, what would work here? Hey, what could we do there? We all want things to happen. We just have to see if they will happen. Another comment from Robert. Yeah, go ahead, Clint.
I was just going to say, I think, a lot of tracks and promoters took a wait and see attitude. They didn't know how it was going to work out. Now they see the math, see how it goes, see how the productions come out, and we'll see what comes of it. We're certainly open to working with anybody, and we got a fairly open schedule so far. Dates are coming in quickly, but if you got an idea, let us know. Robert Burr has a question. Adam, has it ever been discussed about doing a dirt week with the sprints across Ontario like they do in PA and Ohio? I would say not really. I mean, the closest thing we had to that was, Mike Emhoff last year did a race there on the Saturday, Sunday prior to the Monday, Tuesday race at Oshweekon for the Summer Nationals. So that was 4 days. New York has a big 360 sprint week that they run through New York. Just happened a couple weeks ago, usually at the start of July. I think the question is, could we do it with Ontario tracks? Sure we could. And 360 drivers, would it work with like the Outlaws or the 410s or USAC or All-Star? I mean, they've shown they don't really into coming across the border for 1 or 2 races, or even 4 for that matter. What happens is in a series, you get drivers who maybe can't cross the border, or crew guys who can't. That team opts out of that event, and then you end up losing them because they're no longer forced to come to the events as they lose their status or their point standing. So, most tours don't want to do that. Even us taking the Action Sprint Tour to Ransomville, it's not something we want to do because, you're going to have one of your key teams who just can't go, and then, you lose them for the year. So it just doesn't make sense there.
If I'm not mistaken, up here, there's a big understanding among promoters that they don't want to run a special event within a day or two of another facility running a special event. So to do a speed weeks up here would be pretty expensive for every promoter, and you'd need Humberstone, Merrittville, Oshweekon, Brighton. You'd need all these places to run one day after another. And I think that's always been some hesitation. Clinton, am I wrong there?
No, I think there's 2 schools of thought. From a tour, let's say the big blocks, or even a dirt sportsman tour, for example. The tour from the dirt side, they want to book 3 days in a row because it encourages drivers to travel from 3-4 hours away, spend 3 days racing, 3 consecutive nights, and go home, and it makes that long trip worth the while. But you are right about promoters, and especially when you get into the situation, depending on the economy and how it is, you don't want to kind of put what I call fan pressure. Whenever we look at booking our major events, we look at what events are going on around it, how much fan pressure is there that week, meaning how many big events are the fans forced to choose between what they want to attend. And I mean, thankfully here, as long as I've been in the promotion game, no matter who's running Humberstone or Brighton or Merrittville or Southern Ontario Motor Speedway or Buxton at the time, we've all done a really good job of working together. And I think that's the biggest thing race teams need to understand is it's unprecedented the way the tracks around here work together. Even from rules, the dirt tracks are the envy of a lot of the pavement because we have the Ontario Dirt Competition Committee, which is going to, bring a good cross section of drivers to events like Brighton and Merrittville because they can race. And, that was the dig by some of the Merrittville teams who didn't get in the sign up early is, oh, it's all outside guys. Yeah, well, they were up on the chip and they got it done and they signed up and their cars are just as legal as yours. So, you got to really pay attention to make it go. I think a sprint week could work maybe, Adam. I think for the teams it may take some travel, but I could see doing a Friday at Oshweekend, Saturday down at Brighton, then something back here Sunday at Humberstone, and maybe something on Monday at Merrittville. I mean, those are traditional dates that all those tracks kind of work off of. I could see something like that working out, and I think we wouldn't feel the pressure too much. You're going to have fans who are going to pick and choose, but you would have the super fans who could go. We could have booked it if we didn't have COVID.
Yeah. And there's, what's interesting is this pandemic has opened a lot of doors that were closed previously. People cooperating a little bit that probably never would have cooperated given if they weren't sort of forced into it. So some good has come of it. I want to know if Rob Burrs, I'm learning that there's someone from Cambridge who's apparently a huge dirt fan that my son figured out. There's someone from right here in town that goes to a ton of dirt races, and it's odd because in St. Catharines, Clinton, there's tons of people that go to lots of races. When you're in Cambridge, there's not all that many people that go to a ton of dirt races in particular, so you tend to know who the race fans are. So it's interesting. I'm learning about new racing families right in our backyard.
I think it's hilarious that you and I are both on national TV multiple times a week and not one of my neighbors gives a shit or cares or knows. I just think that's funny as all hell. But, hey, what do you do? Well, we're kind of on TV, but you wouldn't see me unless you're a race fan. So, no, I think it's funny. Moving on, Burger Barn Video of the Week. This week, it touches home a little bit for me, Adam, because it's with Kyle Cummings. And in case you know who Kyle Cummings is, a big midget racer down in Indiana. He is part of Glenn Steyer's Racing, and Glenn's put him in his cars the last few years for the midget at the Chili Bowl, and he's had him in one of his cars now. And if I believe Cummings is still driving the GSR Glenn Steyer's Racing machine out there, number 2. This Burger Barn Video of the Week. And, of course, Burger Barn is open, Adam. I can tell you, I drive by there multiple times a week, open for takeout. Give them a call. All the fixings are there. I got to have it 2 weeks ago. I must tell you, it is amazing. So make sure you check it out. Burger Barn.
You know who's
back
never
in business.
driven? You know who's never driven by Burger Barn?
Obviously not
Greg
you.
Greg Calnan.
Oh.
He refuses to drive by. He stops every time.
Yeah.
I was stepping all over you tonight. It's terrible.
You guys digging on each other is pretty good. Spencer put up that promo for the show in Saturday's broadcast from Flamboro. And even my wife, Christine, she goes, man, you look pissed off all the time. Can you vouch I'm not an angry man most of the time? But I don't think you can because we fight all the time. But come on, I got a good sense of humor. I'm laughing all the time. I just look pissed off, right?
You know what? This weekend, what did we say on the phone yesterday?
Yesterday you said we didn't fight at all this weekend.
It's the first time it's been ugly, folks. Like we're just brothers. That's how we are. And we take out, it's like being a married couple because we take out the worst of our frustrations on each other.
The funny thing is Greg and Spencer are the other partners are two of the most silent, chill guys you're going to get. And you and I are screaming at each other and they're just backing up, not against the wall. Don't know what to say. But no, man, I've still been struggling with my face. I mean, I don't know. I got something going on here. Got an abscess, and it's been a mess for like 3 weeks now. And I don't know, man. So tough to smile. As I say, my face is killing me. It's killing you guys all the time. I get it. But anyways, back to our Burger Barn Video of the Week. Kyle Cummings did something cool at him, and I know he's not the only driver to do it, but it came across my feed today. It's just something neat that some of the drivers have taken to do. And play it, Spencer.
This is
So Kyle Cummins won the feature, and girl was screaming at the fence, young girl, and he came up and gave her the trophy to take home. And comes back to get a quick picture with them.
That's awesome. She knew just what to do with the trophy. Hold it off just to the side to get her face in there.
No, but
Clint,
that's cool when the drivers can interact with fans like that. And, that is a girl who is never going to forget that night and will likely be a fan for life if she already wasn't.
Yep, exactly.
All right, moving on to our next topic. And viewers, feel free to jump in here at any time. Any gossip from the Pinty series? That's a good question, Adam. I guess I can probably speak closer to that than you can because with our Pinty's 100 race still scheduled for our weekend for August 18th, it is officially on pause right now. Our race is, so nothing has happened yet. We're still waiting to see what happens with Six Nations and Phase 3 and where we end up with that. So we've got a few more weeks still to try and figure out what's going to happen. So that is officially on pause. The rest of the Pinty's schedule is basically on pause except for the ones that they've lost. And of course, this isn't an official statement because you kind of work for them and I don't at all. But from what we've been hearing, talking to some of the other folks we know in the industry, they have not put a final close on the Pinty season. There's still a lot of work going on behind the scenes to make something happen. I'm hearing they had drivers meetings, and again, this is just rumors. Drivers meetings went on today. I think there was a conference call with the teams. And that's all the information we've got. So they are still working to put something together. Obviously, without fans, it makes it difficult for them to get anything going too. I think they're trying to gauge, how many of their teams are still kind of in the game, chomping at the bit, ready to go. Have any of the teams basically thrown in the towel on 2020 yet? And I guess that's what they will gauge and figure out what tracks they feel they can get into and to make something happen at. So as far as the Pinty's 100, our weekend is still officially on pause. Just while we're on that note, the Triple Crown Showdown from our weekend that was scheduled to go yesterday, refunds were issued today, and you start seeing those on your credit card. If you had tickets for that, Show Pass will be automatically sending out the refund. So if you have any questions on that, reach out to Mary, and we'll get you fixed up. But for now, we are refunding the Triple Crown Showdown and on hold for the Pinty's race. So, Trump calls for an apology. This was an interesting tweet as well, Adam. I actually had to fact check it a little bit, and my fact checking was just to go to Twitter and see if it was actually on the president.
See if the
Twitter
president
page
of the United States is actually that ill-informed.
Yeah, I just show it, Spencer, if you've got it. So has Bubba Wallace apologized to all those great NASCAR drivers and officials who came to his aid, stood by his side, and were willing to sacrifice everything for him, only to find out the whole thing was just another hoax. That and flag decision has caused the lowest ratings ever. Well, I'm not going to jump into the politics of it, but why the heck is he jumping into the politics of racing? I don't get why Trump felt he needed to make that post yesterday, just to kind of kick everybody while they're down.
There's only one reason I can think of, Clinton, and I shared it in our group chat when we were discussing it. He is actively trying to lose the next election. He's done. He's taking his ball and he's going home. All of the people that he's endeared himself to, he is like, he's turning around and whizzing on the people that he's finally convinced to like him. It's bizarre. That's all I can think.
I know we're two dumb Canadians. Well, you're half, aren't you? Half and half?
Yeah.
So one dumb Canadian, one half dumb, whatever you are. You people, I'll say it there. You people. Great. Now I'm going to have everybody who's dual citizenship hating me. Care to make a wager on the Trump election?
Do I want to wager with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won $25 from me around Christmas time, so I want to try and win it back. So
if you,
$25.
You want to do 20?
$25 as Trump wins the election.
All right. Yeah, I got $25 that he loses the election.
All right, we'll see what happens. There's a witness right there.
The troubling part is Bubba Wallace didn't do anything wrong. Bubba Wallace is the same race he was in February, the same race he was last year when he drove race cars, the same race as he's been since he was born. That hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is the amount of attention that's being thrust upon him. And I think he's doing a pretty damn good job of handling things. You know what I mean?
The only thing I'm going to say to argue with that is I don't think it's been thrust upon him as he threw a lot of gas on that fire himself. If you watch his interviews on CNN, he brought a lot of heat himself, with being as vocal as he has. So,
But he didn't create any of the situations. Now, he chose to wear a shirt that says, "I can't breathe." He and his race team chose to have Black Lives Matter on the car, I believe. Is that what they... I want to be sure I get this right. Those were conscious decisions. And that's fine. A person is responsible for their decision. Everything else is the same. He's still a race car driver that drives for Richard Petty Motorsports. And your job as a professional race car driver, your job is to leverage every opportunity. It is to maximize your exposure in the right way. So not with drug scandals, not with, you really can't hate on him too hard. If you get those opportunities, Clinton, you have to take them. Hey, you want to be on CNN? Hey, do you want to be on The View? So yeah, like I say, you don't have to agree with everything he says. Let's say my favorite driver ever was Darrell Waltrip. I was a huge Darrell Waltrip fan. I don't agree with everything Darrell Waltrip ever said. I don't agree with everything he ever did. I don't agree with that ridiculous silver fire suit he wore at the last All-Star race that he drove in. But he was still my favorite. Do you know what I mean? Like it's their body of work. It's the whole person, and that hasn't changed that much. And I know it's very polarizing, but that's just my take.
Yeah. You knew it wasn't going to blow over anytime soon. I just wish we had this argument. Well, we had this argument 2 weeks ago, and I'll stand by my thing. I just wish NASCAR would stick to racing and leave the politics and bullshit out of it. Sticking with NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson, COVID positive. That was a big story last week, Adam. Jimmy Johnson had to sit out because he tested positive for COVID-19, and I think that had to give the whole sport a bit of a scare when you're premier stars. And sucks for JJ, man. He's in his retirement year, and now he's going to miss a bunch of it, and certainly not a year he will forget. Do you think he comes back for a redo of the retirement season, or is this enough bullshit for him to say enough?
Yeah, I think he's done. Now, I had assumed all drivers get tested anyhow. I assumed that everyone gets tested. But the way I read the story, it says once his wife tested positive, he went and got tested, and turns out he tested positive. I'm thinking, what do you mean? He didn't have to wait for his wife. I thought they were tested constantly.
Well, maybe it just came up this week, or showed up and he hadn't been to the track yet to get the test. They're probably not getting tested at home. So yeah, just a crazy story to come out of NASCAR to see that just shows nobody's safe from the deal. A couple of mentions I want to say about viewers that I see tuning in. Rick Verburn just tuned in. He ran second in a great battle with Kenny Grube in the super stock race at Flamboro. He sent us a great message mentioning that his sponsors had watched the coverage and really appreciate everything we're doing, which is great. Ken Leslie sent the same type of message, said, "I appreciate everything G-Force and your team's doing to get racing going in the local region." And another guy we want to mention, Mike Bowman, also just logged in and is watching with us. Mike is going to do triple duty this weekend, Adam. He's going to run his 358 on Saturday at Merrittville and then do double duty on Sunday with Sportsman and a crate sprint. So Mike Bowman making the most of the COVID season here and getting as many races in as he can. So that's cool to see that these guys are starting to spread themselves around and get out and do as much racing as they can.
Racers race, and Mike Bowman has the ability. He has the opportunity to do what he wants to do. I think it's awesome. He wants to race a lot, and it's got to be a lot of effort they're putting out. He's getting to be older than he once was, Clinton. This sort of thing begins to take its toll on you.
He's got a couple kids too, He's got to ask now if he can come out and play. It's tough being old. We met Mike when he was a kid. Do you remember he came out and won his first ever sportsman race? And that was pretty shocking to get in and just go at it. We got a few minutes left, and that runs us through our rundown for the week. If you guys have anything you want to discuss, any questions or comments, oh no, Adam's adding stuff to it last minute. Go ahead. What you got, big guy?
Me. I already added it, and I'm sick and tired of. I'm sick and tired of 2020. It took Kenny Rogers from us, and now it took Charlie Daniels. That's the theme song from Six Pack and Stroke a Race in the same year. Like I'm waiting when 2020. I know when 2020 ends. I swear there's going to be outtakes like every other Burt Reynolds movie, and we're going to realize it was just a bad comedy.
Yeah, I think great point. Me being a bluegrasser, obviously. And I played violin for 4 years. My dad was trying to get me up to bluegrass fiddle, but didn't work out. So to Charlie Daniels, I got to see him last summer at actually Weedsport Speedway. He was part of the Travis Tritt deal and put on a great show. We had a great time down there at Weedsport last summer and got to see Charlie Daniels before he passed away. So that was super cool. And man,
I didn't realize he was a big racing fan.
They rocked that
and Darrell Waltrip. Is that right?
Oh yeah. No,
he and Darrell Waltrip are very good friends. But in earnest, yesterday, so we're talking about politics and leaving the politics out of racing. Yesterday on Sirius Radio, they wound up playing a lot of Charlie Daniels songs. Now, Charlie has a couple of very popular songs that people would probably know. He's got a few other hits where the lyrics are very off-center. And you know what? I don't think anyone needs to apologize for it. I sat there listening to it. I thought, this is just good music. Politically, it wouldn't pass the sniff test of 2020, but screw him. He doesn't owe anybody a damn thing.
Well, he was a Dixie guy, right? So, I'm sure the Confederate flag flew loud and proud at Charlie Daniels concerts. Fran puts a mess up. Matt Farnell's been top 5 in both Big Blocks and 360s at Land of Legends. This guy is the real deal. Yeah, we know that. We got to see Farnham last year, and man, came up out of nowhere in the Sprint Car Nationals and just ran good. Pretty awesome. We've got a lot of up-and-coming racers here. This sport has a long way to go. I got a comment from some of the Niagara racers who just commented on the age of the Action Sprint Tour, and they're like, man, look at the youth coming into dirt with this crew of drivers. You got DJ Christie and Liam Martin, and the list just goes on and on of young, amazing drivers who are coming through the ranks. Nick Sheridan's 15 this year and a defending champion Farrell already.
Still,
yeah. I mean, the list goes on. And Bowman says, I stepped off for a second. You guys start busting my nuts. Yeah, we had to, Mike. That's what happens when you get old. They drag, so they're easy to bust.
That's right. And you know what? You left, Mike. I don't know what you're doing. At this age, it might be bedtime. I'm not sure. But you leave the show, we got nothing for you. We're going to talk about you all we want.
Just remember, Adam holds a microphone all weekend long, and he can say whatever he wants. So you better be nice. Let's talk about Terry Dewey's comment. Shocked that CTMP can't run some racing with drive-in fans. There's been a lot of takes on how racing fits into the what's allowed, what's not allowed in the province right now. And even in New York, we've seen a lot of things. You've seen different regions where they can make it happen, and then they can't. Can-Am got in trouble last week for running a race. About an hour before we went on the air, I was reading about Lebanon Valley. They had a big event scheduled for Saturday, July 4th. Their liquor license was taken away in an emergency action to prevent them from having their event. They ended up canceling the event with fans and running it just on stream.
Well, so Clinton, that's what. So I'm half American. God bless America. But the Constitution does not mean that you can give the government the middle finger. Like, your rights do not trump, excuse the expression, do not trump the governing body's authority over the population. And that's what's happening is a bunch of renegades. Woohoo, we're American. Go after yourself. We're going to put on races. We're going to stick people close together. I'm calling my entire grandstand a restaurant, so it's not considered a stadium.
Well, that was basically what he did, right?
and I'm just speaking in generalities. I don't want to talk to any one track in particular, but there's a lot of them doing this. And well, I'm just doing what I want. Did we not learn from North Carolina that Big Brother is watching? People are watching. This is why in Ontario we're able to talk about opening things up. We're like, I just.
No, it's funny. I had to talk with multiple situations yesterday and today with regards to this doubleheader we've got going on at Merrittville and Humberstone. And multiple times I find myself saying the optics of that are just bad, whether it be where they want to do the redraw or how things are going to come together. And by that, we mean, this is the last, well, before we announced the Brighton one, we thought this was the last shot to do these type of events where, we don't know who's watching. We don't know who's paying attention right before the big announcement that we're all anticipating to come Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week here in Ontario. They're supposed to announce what happens because the emergency or state of emergency expires on July 15th, if I have the political terms correct. And Ontario is trying to extend their ability to keep that going. And, we're waiting to hear where racetracks fit into that. Will there be an allowance for any type of fans? I had to talk with Alex Nagy today, just from Jacasa, about how things are going. And, that's the thing. We just don't know. And the government hasn't come out and said numbers. They haven't said percentages because is that really fair? Percentages, that changes things. If you look at you're allowed 20%, well, 20% at Humberstone is a lot different than 20% at Oshweekend. Those are huge difference in numbers, in total numbers. So,
yeah. And 20% of capacity would be the biggest crowd that Humberstone has had for a car race in quite a while. That's not a knock. Measure those seats out 18 inches at a time. Like, you know what I mean? It's strange. It's not like saying Orchard Park in New York where the Buffalo Bills play. Okay, you can go to 20%. Well, it's an 80,000 seat stadium, so you can put 16,000 people in it. Most of the race promoters would be pretty ecstatic with that kind of number. Like the numbers don't add up. They don't make sense.
No, so everybody just keep doing your part, and hopefully we can get there sooner than later and move on to the next phase. I'm a little bit concerned about where we sit with the borders, and does Ontario get pushed to the next phase? We haven't seen a lot of great news coming out lately, so we'll have to see how that plays out in the next couple of days.
I did send Spencer an image, and I want you to forget about politics, okay? I want you to think about all of the polarizing debates people have had. Confederate flag, Donald Trump, Bubba Wallace, Black Lives Matter. In Canada, right wing versus left wing. Clinton, you and I talk about that all the time. In the U.S., we want to put it to politics, Democrat, Republican. Spencer, do you mind throwing that image up if you had time to check it out? This, to me, says so much, Clinton. Some of y'all are too busy being Republican or Democrat, and you can replace that with any of these polarizing arguments to notice you stopped being decent a long time ago. That's so many topics that we have talked about in the last little while. If people were just decent, forget about your agenda, forget about what you're trying to push through. Just be decent, be reasonable. Let's go and have some fun. And we're seeing a lot of people sort of throw that to the wayside, in my opinion.
No, you're right. Just be courteous to your common human, and we'd probably get along a lot better. Just answering a couple questions here. Dusty DeBoer says, does anybody know any updates on Bailey Hurd? Saw Dale Callan post about having surgery a few weeks back. Yeah, Bailey Hurd will be taking the summer off, had some major surgery, but we understand he is on the mend and doing well. And while we're on the topic of, issues, big condolences go out to the Westbrook family. Mike Westbrook apparently, unexpectedly passed away there yesterday. And that's a tough deal on the Westbrook family, as you can imagine. Mike was a big part of his nephew Dylan Westbrook's championship runs and a big part of the team. A lot of the photos that were shared by everybody yesterday were of them in Victory Lane together. So tough break for Dylan. Of course, he's still down racing with the ASCS. So it's got to be tough for him to be stuck in another country. Obviously, funerals are still a mess right now, but our thoughts and condolences go out to the Westbrook family. His father, Dan, Dylan's Dad Dan, and who would be Mike's brother, was a good buddy of mine at the track. He did maintenance for a couple seasons there with me as manager, and Dan's a great guy along with Dylan. So all the best to their family, and condolences from all of us here on G-Force Rivalz and this weekend, of course. And on that sad note, Adam, I think we should end the show. Don't forget, everybody, we are not done. We're going to keep this racing thing going as best we can, even in the shutdown with the virus going on. Please be responsible when you come to the racetracks. Send in your info ahead of time. Let's make sure we got all your sponsors so everybody's getting the plugs they need. Make sure you're bringing a mask, and if you need one, reach out to us. We'd gladly give you one of our G-Force masks and get you set up and rolling so you guys can practice proper social distancing and show the government that we're ready to move to the next stage. Don't forget, program notes are Saturday at 7 and Sunday at 7. Both will be up in live stream. Action-packed weekend of dirt events, Adam, and excited to get at it. Anything you want to say to take us home?
I just want to acknowledge Stephen Petty's comment. It's a good one, and Stephen, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But it's the people that are trying to work with the rules, not trying to stick it to the powers and completely circumvent them. We all want the same things. We all want to go racing. Let's get that done sooner than later. And in the meantime, that's all I got. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, big shout out goes to our whole G-Force crew. Thank you for everything you guys do with us on the road. Spencer obviously working overtime these past few weeks to make all those broadcasts happen, make all these broadcasts happen, and re-edit the shows for Rev TV. So if you're enjoying what you do, make sure you send Spencer a note or say thank you if you see him in person. We keep him hidden well, though. And don't forget, Adam Ross's Mindwell session Thursday at 7 p.m. We always get together, talk about what's bugging you, and try and wash away some of the anxiety. That's Mindwell, 7 o'clock, right here on Facebook in the Adam Out There page. So, anything else?
I was about to say something, but I wasn't going to jump in. I thought I had said enough. What the heck was I going to say? I don't remember now. I was going to follow up with something, but I thought, yes, I'll let you say that. But as well as Spencer, I want to thank Dave Steyer, Sean Robertson, Greg Boydell, Daniel, who works in the background as well. Who am I missing, Clinton?
Mark Little, Dave Steyers, Greg,
the camera
Sean.
Operators that have done a really, really good job.
Yeah, Hawkins filled in with us one week. No, it's been good. Daniel and Spencer doing a marvelous work live as we get rolling. Want to thank all the race teams and promoters who helped us get things going, and we'll continue to keep pushing forward. On behalf of Adam Ross, I'm Clinton Geoffrey. Thanks again, Spencer, for all you do. We'll see you guys at the track live this weekend on G-Force TV, and now you remembered what you wanted to say.
I'm going to butt in. We never acknowledged either Gary Collings' comment. When we were talking about Flamboro, Gary, it was part of the management team there, Gary, Doug Leonard, John and Frank Casale. He had said kind words, basically nothing but positive vibes. Like we're all in this together. There's no, we would love to have been able to do both of them. It didn't work out, but he wished us best of luck and big thanks for what we've done. And we extend the same to them. Thanks so much for opening their gates and letting us come in and play. Hopefully it's been a great time. And now I mean it, Clinton. I'm done. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, thanks for letting us into your home as well. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. We'll see you around. Don't forget, Saturday, Sunday, 7 p.m. live on GForceTV.net.